Snow and ice, that bitter cold blast in the south now sweeping the east. Alerts from New Jersey to New York and Boston as millions face dangerous driving conditions and some of the coldest air of the season moving in.
Deadly shootout. New images this morning of those terrifying moments. A neighborhood turned into an urban war zone. The Jewish grocery store destroyed in a 4-hour gun battle between gunmen, SWAT teams, and police. A veteran officer and 3 innocent bystanders killed. And now the Jersey City mayor calls it a targeted attack. New details coming in, what may have started it all.
Volcano disaster. This morning, rescuers on edge bracing for another eruption as crews try to find those still missing. This as we learn new details about the American newlyweds who were badly burned in the blast. And the big question this morning, why were tourists allowed on that island after officials raised the threat level?
Amanda Knox and Lorena Bobbitt.
Why me? Why Lorena? Why were we chosen to be the ones that people love to hate?
Speaking out about their unlikely friendship and their new mission.
Bachelorette bombshell. Fan favorite J.P. Rosenbaum revealing his rare health battle. The neurological disorder that left him unable to tie his shoes. And the latest on his condition.
And basketball blowout. The college kids scoring 100 points in one game. And the unranked underdogs knocking off #1 Louisville.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And Good Morning America. Hope you're doing well this Wednesday morning. Only halfway through, but what a college basketball season.
Crazy.
It is crazy. The huge win for unranked Texas Tech overnight. Quite a celebration. Get it in, Coach. We see ya. #1. They beat #1 Louisville, the latest basketball giant to fall.
It's happened a few times this season, and they did it at the Jimmy V Classic right here at the Garden in New York. We'll have more on that ahead. It's V Week. But first, we're going to get to that storm that's hitting the Northeast right now, bringing snow and ice as millions start their morning commute. Rob is outside, starting us off with the latest. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Robin. A big change from yesterday where temperatures were in the 50s and 60s, now into the 30s. Feels like the 20s with snow and rain falling around the New York City area. But you go out to Painesville, Ohio, where the lake effect snow machine is kicking into gear. A few inches there, 8 inches just down the road there. But the cold air getting as far south as northern Alabama. We've seen over an inch of snow falling in that part of the south, with temperatures falling from the low 80s yesterday, record high in Mobile of 81 to into the low 40s this morning. But out on Long Island, the Long Island Expressway, you see the snow piling up on the roofs and the sides of the road. So a very difficult commute this morning. And our Will Reeve is on Long Island in Suffolk County to tell us what's happening there. Good morning, Will.
Hey, good morning, Rob. I'm about halfway up this mountain of salt here in Suffolk County. 5,000 tons of this stuff in this location alone being picked up by trucks all night, throughout the morning as well, being spread around the county, all on the roads to make sure that commuters stay safe. It is going to be a bit of a grind this morning as the snow comes down and sticks on this cold winter Wednesday, Rob.
All right, well, it will begin to pile up there. Thankfully, though, this is a short-lived event. What does fall is going to stick around, so that salt's going to be very important because cold air is coming behind this. You see the delineation between the rain and the snow and the drier air behind this. So it will be over in a couple of hours, but look at these wind chills this morning in Chicago. It feels like 0. It feels like 4 degrees in Detroit, and that Arctic air is sliding to the east. So Pittsburgh will feel like 9 tomorrow, Syracuse 2 degrees. It'll feel like 12 degrees here in New York City and 7 in Boston. And winter continues to make inroads as we get closer towards the winter solstice. Spring is right around the corner. Michael, not really.
Well, not really. We look forward to it being over, Rob, as you said. All right, thank you so much. And now we're going to go to the latest on that deadly shootout in New Jersey that left 4 innocent people dead. Police exchanged a barrage of bullets with the suspect during the hours-long standoff. Adrienne Bankert is in Jersey City with the latest. Good morning, Adrienne.
Good morning to you too, Michael. You can see the devastation behind us of this kosher market. The Jewish community is grieving. I got to tell you, just being here yesterday and seeing all of the police presence, I've never seen anything like this. It really did look like a war zone. And now Jersey City rocked by the deadly chain of events. This morning, the first glimpse of the aftermath inside that Jewish market, the epicenter of that deadly police shootout. The chaos began at this cemetery a little less than a mile away, where investigators say Detective Joseph Seals tried to question two men who may have been connected to a weekend homicide. The two opening fire, killing Seals, wounding two other officers before fleeing in a rented moving truck that had been reported stolen. Dressed in black and armed with high-powered rifles, they drove the truck to a Hasidic community where they entered the kosher market and began firing.
All units are to maintain cover at that location.
The neighborhood turned into a war zone. Local police, SWAT teams, the ATF and FBI all responding, taking cover behind vehicles, snipers roaming rooftops.
Every time any approach is attempted or anyone comes out of cover, he opens fire.
Never before in my life. That was like a war zone. I mean, it wasn't just a little pistol. Those were big, big guns.
There it goes again.
As the gun battle raged on for more than 4 hours, terrified residents ran for safety with their hands in the air.
As soon as I got back up, all you heard was another hail of gunfire.
46 local schools on lockdown.
When someone said get down, we all ran to the side of the room. And then that's where it all started. We started crying and running.
Police pulling each other to safety. Finally, the all clear, word that the suspects had been killed. Police stormed the market, discovering 3 other bodies, either customers or workers. The mayor of Jersey City is the first to suggest that this may have been a targeted attack against the city's Jewish community. Mayor de Blasio tweeting that this tragically confirms that a growing pattern of violent anti-Semitism has now turned into a crisis for our nation. After dark, more than 30,000 of the city's children finally allowed to leave school, rushing into the arms of their waiting parents.
My baby is okay.
Seals, the officer killed, is a 15-year veteran of the force. He leaves behind 5 children. This morning, he's being remembered for his bravery.
He was our leading police officer in removing guns from the street.
And Mayor de Blasio also did say that he not only will have more New York police at key locations throughout the Jewish community, but will be announcing further measures today. In his tweeted statement, he says that we must aggressively and decisively stop anti-Semitism. George.
Boy, no question about that. Okay, Adrian, thanks very much. We're going to go to Washington now, and the latest on the impeachment showdown. The House Judiciary Committee will start reviewing the articles of impeachment tonight, and here's how the next steps will play out. Judiciary Committee will then vote to approve them, likely tomorrow. Then the full House will vote on them. That vote expected to take place before Christmas. If the House does indeed vote to impeach, the Senate will then hold a trial presided over by Chief Justice John Roberts. It takes 2/3 of the Senate, 67 votes to convict and remove a president from office. Terry Moran has the latest on Capitol Hill. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, George. This is a fateful step. This isn't just politics as usual, a little bit nastier. Democrats are invoking the most drastic power in the Constitution in formal articles of impeachment, ringing with phrases of condemnation of President Trump. At a raucous rally in Pennsylvania overnight, President Trump attacked Democrats for the charges leveled against him.
They're impeaching me, and there are no crimes. This has to be a first in history. They're impeaching me. You know why? Because they want to win an election, and that's the only way they can do it.
But Democrats insist Trump committed high crimes and misdemeanors. It's only the 4th time in American history it has come to this.
We must be clear. No one, not even the president, is above the law.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler unveiled 2 articles of impeachment. The first, abuse of power. Trump solicited interference of a foreign government, Ukraine, to influence the 2020 United States presidential election to his advantage. The second charge, obstruction of Congress, the unprecedented, categorical, and indiscriminate defiance of subpoenas and requests for testimony without lawful cause or excuse.
Our president holds the ultimate public trust. When he betrays that trust and puts himself before country, he endangers the Constitution, he endangers our democracy, and he endangers our national security.
Republicans defending Trump to the hilt.
The Democrats called those who supported Donald Trump deplorables. And now they're trying to disqualify their votes. Democrats still cannot get over the fact that the president won the election and they lost.
But Democrats say if they don't act now, they allow Trump to jeopardize the integrity of the next election.
If we did not hold him accountable, he would continue to undermine our election. Nothing less is at stake than the central point of our democracy, a free and fair election.
So, Terry, Speaker Pelosi almost certainly has the votes to impeach the president next week in the House. So a lot of eyes now turning to the Senate. And there's really a three-way negotiation between the White House, Senate Republicans, and Senate Democrats over what that trial will look like, how long it will go.
That is the battleground right now. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is the key person here on Capitol Hill. He's looking for what seems like a limited, very orderly trial. The senators sit as jurors. McConnell wants opening arguments from managers, advocates of the impeachment from the House, facing off against the White House lawyers. Then he might call a vote of all the senators and end it right there. President Trump has indicated he wants a much bigger trial, calling witnesses, perhaps live into the Senate well. So who wins that remains to be seen.
Several weeks of negotiation there. Meantime, you know, this impeachment debate is so bitter, yet the Speaker Pelosi, and the White House were able to come to agreement on a major piece of legislation, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement.
Yeah, it was a head-spinning day. So you got the articles of impeachment, the Democrats trying to remove President Trump for office. At the same time, they're giving him one of his major victories. He came into office saying he would do away with NAFTA and replace it. The Democrats, after negotiating new enforceable labor and environmental protections, have signed on, trying to show that they can walk and chew gum at the same time, impeach this president and work with him.
Terry Moran, thanks very much, Robin.
And George, now we're going to move on overseas to an attack overnight on the biggest U.S. military base in Afghanistan. A powerful suicide bomb going off near a gate at Bagram Air Base, followed by gunfire. James Longman has the latest from there. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. This was a powerful suicide bomb targeting a medical building near to the Bagram Air Base. 6 Afghans were wounded on the attack on this facility, which is being built to help local people. There were no U.S. casualties and the base remains secure. There's not yet been a claim of responsibility, but both the Taliban and ISIS stage attacks on a near daily basis in Kabul and other parts of the country. Now, this bomb was so big that homes nearby were destroyed and a large mosque damaged. All this just days after U.S.-Afghan peace talks resumed. There are around 12,000 U.S. troops in Afghanistan, which President Trump has long said he wants to bring home. But stabilizing this country has been a long and costly struggle, and it's unclear if that'll happen anytime soon. Michael?
All right, thank you so much, James. And now we're going to go to the latest fallout from that deadly shooting at a Florida naval base. The Pentagon is taking action, grounding more than 300 Saudi aviation students at U.S. bases as they review vetting procedures. Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz has more. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Michael. The Pentagon has trained 28,000 members of the Saudi military over the past several decades, but they have never grounded them like this before. But the Pentagon has also never had one of the trainees attack fellow classmates on U.S. soil.
This morning, under orders of the Secretary of Defense, the Pentagon now taking immediate steps to strengthen personnel vetting for international military trainees, as well as heighten security, with the spotlight clearly on the Saudis. More than 300 Saudi flight students now forbidden from flying indefinitely. The Saudi flight trainees are spread between 3 Florida naval bases: Pensacola, the scene of the deadly shooting, nearby Whiting Field, and Mayport Naval Air Station. The flight students among the more than 800 Saudi military trainees who will now be restricted to only classroom instruction, although the secretary has stressed the importance of the Saudi partnership.
I asked that we begin a review of what our screening procedures are with regard to foreign nationals coming to the United States. Overall, these types of programs, exchanges, are very important to our national security.
The Saudis are eager to cooperate. The defense attaché visiting the Pensacola base, site of the deadly rampage where Mohammed al-Shamrani opened fire, killing Cameron Walters, Mohammed Haytham, and Joshua Caleb Watson, who is being hailed as a hero for alerting first responders to the gunman's location, helping save lives.
We all heard shots again, several shots inside the building. He walked out on the steps and he collapsed.
Cheryl Poyster, a civilian instructor at the naval base, says if it wasn't for Watson, she may have become a victim as well.
If he had not come through that doorway at that moment, I would be dead.
The Navy is now posthumously awarding Watson and the other sailors who were killed their coveted gold Navy wings. George?
What a tragedy. Martha Raddatz, thanks very much. We're going to go to the search now for the military plane that went down on a flight from Chile to Antarctica with 38 people on board. Chilean officials are leading an international operation, and Matt Gutman has the latest.
This morning, the search intensifying for 38 passengers and crew members after a Chilean military plane mysteriously disappeared halfway into a 3-hour flight Monday evening. The C-130 Hercules aircraft, similar to the plane seen here, was en route to a research station in Antarctica from the southern Chilean city of Punta Arenas. Officials now considering the flight lost at sea, the water frigid and waves ferocious. The chances of survival are believed to be very slim. The Chilean military deploying a fleet of ships and aircraft, and to aid in the search, 2 U.S. satellites are capturing images from orbit.
There are really no overt indications of what might have brought this airplane down. If, for instance, there was sudden structural failure, which would be very, very unusual in this kind of bird.
The missing include 2 private contractors and 1 university student. The rest are members of the Chilean military. And at the Cerrillos Air Base in Santiago, relatives of those believed missing comforting each other.
Now, investigators are searching for a reason for this crash. The weather was good, the plane apparently well maintained, and there wasn't a single distress signal. Now, we're talking about one of the roughest patches of ocean in the world, and so authorities say there is little hope for survivors. Robin.
So sorry to hear that. Okay, Matt, thank you. Now to 2 big sports headlines: that stunning upset in college hoops overnight and a record-breaking baseball deal. Who better to share all this with us than this man right here, TJ Holmes?
Robin, far be it from me to tell any parent how to raise their child, but you need to get your kids in baseball right now. All of you. Case in point, 7 years, $324 million. That is now the richest contract for a pitcher in baseball history, and that dude is getting it. That's Garrett Cole, who had an MVP caliber season, but you remember him from the Astros from the playoffs. He had a couple of stellar standout performances. The New York Yankees, yes, they had made it their priority to go after this guy, and they got their guy. Now, this is the richest contract for a pitcher in history. It surpasses the old record that was held by Steven Strasburg. He held that record for 24 hours. Oh. Yes, just on Monday, Strasburg from the Nationals signed a record 7-year, $245 million deal. Now he is broke compared to Garrett Cole at this point.
Yeah, he's not broke. Cole was the first-round draft pick of the Yankees out of high school, but he decided to go to college.
It all works out.
Back where it's supposed to be.
And while I'm handing out advice, I'll hand out some now to the college baseball teams. Do not get ranked number 1, whatever you do this year, because for the 4th time in a short season, the number 1 has gone down. This happened last night, the Jimmy V Classic. Yes, Louisville falling to Texas Tech. That's previously unranked. But you know what the fun part of this was? Check out Chris Beard, the coach in the locker room with the team afterwards. Get down, coach. Yeah, you earned it, my man.
Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself.
Now, they are unranked, but that dude can coach. They were in the Final Four last year, so congrats to them. So don't get ranked number 1, get your kids in baseball.
I want what TJ's having this morning.
Always.
We are following a lot of other stories this morning, including the latest on that volcano disaster. There is a chance it could erupt again in the next 24 hours as we learn new details about the American newlyweds who were injured.
Also, the surprising friendship between Amanda Knox and Lorena Bobbitt, how they plan to use their bond to help other women. But first, let's go back now to Rob.
All right, Robin, we're thinking baseball now with the snow coming down. Our thanks to our weather colleague at WABC, Lee Goldberg, for sending this in Westchester County. The snow piling up on the grassy surfaces, but how hard it falls will determine how much piles up on the roadways. Wind chill forecast now brought to you by Target.
For all the season's greeters, for the gingerbread architects, the lighting Jedi, and the gift detectives, for the family historians and tradition twisters, for all the families, big, small, chosen, and frozen. Whatever you give, however you gather, we're thinking of you.
On Weather Alert through the morning hours, watch the roads. Could still be some slick patches out there. Today's high temperature 40 degrees, but it's going to be cold and breezy despite the sunshine. So have your heaviest winter gear ready to go for today and tomorrow. 38, we'll be looking at more sunshine, but wind chills early tomorrow in the teens. And then your next weather maker comes in late Friday, early Saturday with rain, and could have a wintry mix Monday into Tuesday of next week.
Something in my cup, whatever you have, whatever you're drinking. I need.
We'd all get fired if I put in that cup what I'm having. No.
I have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now there's Skyrizi.
Things are getting clearer.